The selfie. Heart it or hate it, Instagram and Snapchat are working to ensure they're here to—
What the? This filter should be illegal. Here's the real me.
You are beautiful just the way you are.
From doggy ears to artistic AI renderings, filters are nothing new.
Look at me, I'm Caucasian.
But this is something else.
The bold glamour filter.
Unlike filters of the past, the bold glamour filter basically overhauls your entire face, contouring and reshaping in real time.
That filter.
When we use filters for the purpose of beautification, we see this version of ourselves that might have a completely different bone structure, wearing lots of makeup, and essentially looks closer to the typical beauty ideals of the time. It creates a big mismatch between our ideal appearance and our actual appearance.
Glamour filter is a lie.
Because this filter uses sophisticated AI tech, it doesn't glitch, so it can be extra difficult for users to pick up on where and when the filter is even being used.
When we're scrolling through social media, often we're just kind of accepting what we see as reality. We begin to think that everyone in the world looks like that, and that lifts this standard of beauty that we expect of ourselves.
Hold on. Who are you?
1 in 3 Australians is already unhappy with the way they look, and 35% of people have trouble identifying when something has been digitally altered. So, more than a light airbrushing, these filters can wreak havoc on self-esteem.
As soon as you've been exposed to this filtered image of ideal beauty, it's already seated in your mind and it can have an effect.
I don't think my brain knows how to deal with looking like this 1 minute and then this the next.
So it's important to think twice before you post that filtered image, because you don't know who's going to be seeing it and how it might then impact their confidence and their self-esteem.
So are these filters just a bit of fun, or is there something sinister about our constantly changing faces?
What do you think? You'll look better with it.
Heidi Anderson is a body confidence coach.
Very Shakespearean, very dramatic, but I am going to make a point. Is there in beauty no truth? Yeah, I know, for those Star Trek fans, don't come at me. I have corrupted such a beautiful Shakespearean poetic quote. But, as always, there's a point I will be making. So, here goes. Is there in beauty no truth? This is a little essay about kaliagnosia. You don't know what that means? Well, it's okay. I'm here to help you out. As you've seen from those videos that I've just started with, beauty filters have become problematic. Talk about catfishing. Talk about the days when you could look at someone and know immediately that person just isn't real. Beauty filters have ruined that for all of us. So, what is the solution? There are many laws that have gone up to regulate social media and beauty filters on social media, but there's still a problem. Today, I will ask the question, can kaliagnosia protect us from beauty filters? It seems appropriate for a world gone mad with social media filters and beauty bias. What, you may be asking, is kaliagnosia? Kaliagnosia is a procedure, a beauty blind procedure, literally from the Greek, kali meaning beauty and agnosia meaning blindness, or to not know. It is a procedure that was introduced in the Ted Chiang story, Like in What You See, a documentary. Ted Chiang has this brilliant ability to execute intriguing concepts. In Arrival, aka Story of Your Life, a linguist named Louisa Banks attempts to decipher an alien language to prevent what may turn into a war of worlds. In Understand, a man with superintelligence exploits his gifts to detrimental effects, and in Division Zero, a mathematician drives herself mad trying to solve a mathematical conundrum. I have touched on some of these stories before, but today I will focus on another in this great collection called Like in What You See, a documentary. It seems appropriate for the world. Social media filters and beauty biases. In Like in What You See, a university campus debates the pros and cons of implementing equity procedure called kaliagnosia, which controls for beauty bias and the halo effect, whereby people are judged positively or negatively solely on their looks. The procedure is called kaliagnosia, from the Greek kali, beauty, and agnosia, to not know. So it's a form of face blindness known as prospoagnosia. This is kaliagnosia, so it's beauty blindness. In this story, the procedure, which is reversible and controversial, would disable a person's response to beauty or ugliness, rendering those who are pulchritude challenged a chance at fairness and being judged based on the content of their character and what they have to offer as opposed to what they look like. The story is written documentary style and follows faculty, staff, students, and activist groups as they debate the pros and cons of kaliagnosia. Some of the great themes that have come out of this are biases, agency, beauty, and of course, control. Who gets to decide? Equity. So one of the pros of kaliagnosia is that it removes the bias of lookism. In essence, it's an equity procedure to help those of us who are aesthetically challenged. So if you're not beautiful, in theory, you should benefit from kaliagnosia being implemented because it means you won't be judged by your looks. The kaliagnosia procedure of Chang's story, however, didn't take away beauty, but numbed its effect on people. So it's not that you are seeing someone through a filter, but rather that you are not responding to what you are seeing. So it disables the part of your brain that recognizes and responds to beauty stimuli. That part of us that we all just cannot turn off. This means that both the beautiful and the not so beautiful are viewed the same way through the same eyes, at least for someone who has undergone the procedure. So how you are judged comes down to your character, your personality, your intelligence, and what you have to offer, because beauty has no impact on the person. In Like in What You See, for example, there's a parent whose child attends a school that has implemented the procedure, and that parent noted that the class president was a girl with a severe facial deformity, a feature that would have gotten her bullied had it not been for the procedure being mandatory for all students at the school. So again, it benefits those of us who may have deformities and who may not be so beautiful. Chang has said the story was inspired by an experiment wherein fake college applications with photos were left in an airport. The experiment revealed that people were more likely to mail the application if the student was conventionally attractive. Similar studies, of course, have shown that beautiful students score higher grades, but controlling for looks leads to leveling off. So if the professor or the TA didn't know what the student looked like, the grade would probably level off. It wouldn't be so high unless the student legitimately earned it. So, Chang believes that beauty bias is among the last frontier in terms of discrimination in our society that no one talks about, but never, the benefits of beauty. Considering the recent crackdown on social media filters and what it has to do with lookism, when I ask the question, is there in beauty no truth? Framed one way, what I'm asking is for us to be honest about beauty biases and what the young have termed lookism. Chang believes, again, it's the final frontier of bias that human beings have yet to tackle and discuss as one of the final frontiers of barriers to equity. Consider the case of Anna Kournikova. Yes, I'm a tennis fan, so I'm going there. I'm a tennis fan, and this was the generation that I came up with. So consider the case of Anna Kournikova. Former professional tennis player Anna Kournikova was the highest paid female athlete in the world until her early retirement at the rightful age of 21 in 2003. Would Anna have achieved that status of being the highest paid female athlete without her beauty? Most likely not, considering that she never won a singles tournament in tennis, a crucial achievement in an individual sport like tennis. She's won many doubles titles, but never a singles title. Her best result was a quarterfinal match at Wimbledon. So, Quarterfinal match at Wimbledon. So despite having never won a singles tennis title, Kournikova became the highest paid female athlete in the world. Not simply the highest paid female tennis player, but the highest paid female athlete, period. She had sponsorship with Nike. She appeared on the cover of multiple magazines, including men's magazines. She was just all over the place during that time. And when asked about her unearned wealth and privileges, Kournikova reportedly responded about the endorsement deals, "What am I to do? Say no?" Of course not. Who would say no? Who can blame her? So Kournikova played doubles with the great Martina Hingis, a partnership that ended due to jealousy and bouquets of flowers being tossed. The two were rumored to have had numerous off-court spats. The New York Post reported that, and I quote, Hingis cut down Kournikova during a changeover in a singles match between the two, causing the sassy Russian to cry on the court. In the locker room after the match, which Kournikova won, the two hurled insults and trophies at one another. The capper came when Kournikova flung a crystal vase at Hingis, who dodged the shattered glass with her renowned cat-like footwork. Quote, when Hingis had been asked if she ever envies Kournikova, she haughtily points to her own top ranking. In one famous exchange via the media, Hingis said, "I don't think it's really a big rivalry. I've always been better, and I beat her at the great tournaments." Kournikova's reply, "You may be number one, but I'm more marketable than you." True, the great Martina Hingis has won 8 major titles and numerous other smaller titles. Never reached the peak of marketability that Kournikova did. Consider also the case of Petra Kvitova. Petra Kvitova is a 2-time Wimbledon champion. Her last Wimbledon title came in 2014 when she won the Ladies' Championship against Jeannie Bouchard, a Canadian glamour model and player who since, haven't been doing very well. Despite all of this, it was Bouchard who walked her away with the endorsement deals, with one article lamenting that Petra just isn't marketable. So lookism certainly impacts women more than men. So would women care more to legislate against it? And would they want that, especially if you're a beautiful woman? Consider again. Framed a second way, I will also ask, is there in beauty no truth? Interpreted this way, I am asking about the false image of ourselves that we present. Side note, I know that many will argue they're putting out an improved version of themselves rather than a false version. But let's be honest, some of these filters, as you've seen, are extreme. Covering up a little dark blemish, sure. Making yourself look younger, skinnier, with fuller lips, or even a different ethnicity, that is sorcery. That is sorcery. That's black magic. Is the truth not that humans are wired to care more about beautiful people and things? Our eyes linger longer, we are nicer to them, we defer to them. They please us, we live vicariously through them, we fantasize about being them and being with them. Influencers know that clean, clear skin will please viewers more than acne-covered skin, that fuller lips are more appeasing than thinner lips. So they apply filters to give themselves these features, and in turn, they get more views, more subscribers, and more financial opportunities. Something tells me then that, like a woman featured in Liking What You See, who laments about the loss of beauty privileges, many women who made their fortune on looks wouldn't be so happy. So Anna Kournikova, despite having never won a singles tournament, and I'm sure she would have loved to have won one, at the end of the day became a multimillionaire. A better life than she otherwise would have had she just been a plain-looking woman. That's just a bias that we have. We gravitate to these types. We see this scenario again play out between Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova. Not that Serena Williams exactly went home hungry. She didn't. She's earned her money. But we see it was Maria who got the bulk of the attention and lavish sponsorship. We're still fascinated by the lives of beautiful movie stars like Grace Kelly, Ava Gardner, Dorothy Dandridge, Gene Tierney, and Vivian Leigh, no matter how tragic, troubled, and downright disturbing their lives were. And I do mean downright disturbing for many of them. If these women were unattractive, the opportunities to be movie stars wouldn't have happened, but maybe neither would the woes that came with their lives. Considering all these laws that are clamping down on social media filters, do you think caliagnosia, if it became a real-life procedure, would be useful? Before we go there, I just wanted to look at some of the cons. Now, in the short story, Liking What You See, there were many cons. As I mentioned already, there was at least one beautiful woman who said, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. It's not my fault that I'm beautiful, and I should be able to benefit from my beauty." Okay, so we know beautiful women and those social media influencers who make their bread and butter by being beautiful would probably not like caliagnosia. But what are some of the actual cons of it? Evolutionary biologists will insist that our natural attraction to health is from a desire to pass on healthy genes. This is prominently known. This is the beauty as a signifier of health theory, commonly held belief, although quite faulty. For example, years ago, I saw a poll asking if I, as a woman, would swap bodies with Angelina Jolie circa 2005. Angelina Jolie is one of the most beautiful women in the world, Jolie, however, while a stunning woman, has a family history of cancer that has claimed most of her maternal relatives and led her to remove her own breast to extend her life. So not exactly healthy. But, despite the faultiness of beauty, we remain stubborn to tame our most basic visual attractiveness to it. There are still many people who would say, yes, I would switch body with Angelina Jolie because I don't care for cancer. Screw that. Look at her life. Look at the benefits of her life. She's one of the most famous and beautiful movie stars ever. Many other people, however, argue that biases are natural. And this is one of the strongest arguments in the story, that biases are natural. Humans learn to live with and accommodate our biases through socialization and natural maturity. Taking away someone's right to choose or to be biased leaves that person without agency. So sexual selection allows humans to be picky, to pass on the best genes to our children. Features like asymmetry, acne, and deformity are weeded out of the gene pool for that reason. Caliagnosia may lead to dating someone that you would not otherwise be physically attracted to. Indeed, in the story, the 18-year-old named Tamara, who's one of the main characters in the story, has the procedure reversed. Procedure she's had since she was a child. She had it reversed and found herself struggling to find anything in common with her ex-boyfriend, who she realized she wouldn't have dated without the procedure. There were other horror stories that emerge of people who reversed the procedure and struggled to exist in the real world with all its ugliness. There were parents who expressed fear that their child wouldn't be able to appreciate the beauty of art or may find the Mona Lisa ugly. So ultimately, this brings me to the gist of what I'm trying to get at. Considering all the issues we're having with social media filters and its impact on the low self-esteem of young girls in particular, the arguments are, of course, it creates a false reality, an overemphasis on beauty over substance, it misleads people, there's accusations of catfishing and false advertising. So, Chang's story asks, what if we can shut off the effects of beauty? So when a young girl goes on social media, she's not subjected to feelings of inferiority or a desire to subject herself to the same procedures for clout, fame, and fortune. She sees these beautiful people, but they have no impact on her. Would parents in schools be okay with implementing this technology on mobile or other computer devices that would trigger when a minor goes on social media platform or looks at advertising? If such a procedure becomes popular, how soon before it becomes mandatory to deal with lookism in general? In Liking What You See, Chang hints at similar procedures for racism, sexism, and even tonal and expression manipulation, citing that many didn't work. The procedure for racism, for example, led to mistaking people of the same race and sex for one another. Oops. But consider that laws against types of lookism already exist. Colorism and texturism, for example, are forms of lookism prevalent among Black and darker-skinned peoples. As of this video, over 20 U.S. states have adopted the Crown Act to punish discrimination against the natural hair and hairstyles of Black people. That falls under texturism. Many UK schools have adopted the Halo Code, which aims to allow Black children to wear natural hairstyles without harassment or punishment. Companies like Dove and Procter & Gamble have been boycotted over skin bleaching products, while others have been criticized for hiring only lighter-skinned mixed-race women instead of black women. This is a form of colorism. Consider the 2013 story of the Brazilian model Nayara Justina, who lost her Miss Globaliza title for being too black or having distinct West African features. How soon before beauty equity becomes the next DEI initiative for civil rights activism? And how soon would technology like kaliagnosia be made mandatory in places like schools and workplace? Anyway, these are just some thoughts. Let me know what you think about social media filters and the idea of kaliagnosia as the answer to the problem. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and also check out Ted Chiang's story, the entire collection. It's brilliant.